Hey, it's Manu with 22 Sound. Welcome to our weekly new vinyl release alert. Today we're looking at release date July 1st, 2022. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, comment, all those things. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's get things started with some nice punk / hardcore, a Wilhelm Scream and their latest album, Lose Your Delusion. Yeah, it's really hard not to say Use Your Illusion, but I think I did it. Well, anyway, this doesn't sound like Use Your Illusion at all. It is a really great melodic punk album at the border to hardcore, wherever you would put that punk hardcore border, but it is really a nice, intense, mainly fast piece of music here. And at the same time, though, really hyper melodic vocals, some really catchy hooks on here. And I think they are doing a great job at putting melody into a punk environment without getting too poppy. I wouldn't call this pop punk. It is too gritty for that. And that's definitely a positive in my book. And also they're technically, from a technical ability to play the instruments point of view, they're really a great, exceptional band in the punk world that is usually known to keep things really simple. They can really play, but they always do it in the service of the song. They don't overdo it. This is a really great comeback for them. It's almost been 10 years since their last album before that. It's a Wilhelm Scream, Lose Your Delusion. Next up is a pretty new band, only the third album from Germany. It's The Spirit and their album Of Clarity and Galactic Structures. Yeah, when I first heard The Spirit, the first two albums, I kind of thought this is a little bit like maybe Dissection would have been had they been a little bit more into space and stuff like that, instead of, Satanism and murder and, Anyway, definitely some Dissection worship here, but it is not just a Dissection copy. There are some of the trademarks here, and I think that's a positive thing, because even though I do feel a little guilty for doing it, but I do love Dissection. They were just such a great band. But also here a little bit of later era death in here. Also a very technical band in a very different sense than Wilhelm Scream earlier on. Yeah, so they're bringing in some of that technical death metal vibe in here without losing. Sometimes it can get a little soulless when bands get too technical. They don't do that here. They really create a nice atmosphere on this whole album. Really good stuff if you're into melodic black / death metal. The Spirit, Of Clarity and Galactic Structures. Next up are some of my old heroes, a band that I've loved for a long time. It's Hardcore Superstar and their latest album Abrakadabra. Yeah, I fell in love with Hardcore Superstar in the mid-2000s when their self-titled album came out. And yeah, they're not a hardcore band at all. It's, I guess, best described as sleaze rock. Definitely has an 80s vibe to it, an 80s rock vibe, but more like the heavier end of the spectrum. Think Skid Row, Faster Pussycat rather than Winger, say, more that kind of stuff. Definitely on the verge of heavy metal. Some really nice meaty riffs on here. Always love those raspy vocals, almost a little like a scream, but still they're able to write some hooks. I've always been impressed. I mean, they're from Sweden after all, and we all know the Swedes can write some nice catchy stuff, and they have just always been such a great band that should have been much bigger. But they're still around, they're still doing it. High energy, nice, sleazy rock with great hooks. Hardcore Superstar, Abrakadabra. Yeah, so we had a lot of pretty intense stuff on different levels. So we have something a little mellower for you. We have Findlay, which is a English singer and songwriter. Only her second album, The Last of the 20th Century Girls, is what it's called. Yeah, the first song I heard of this was called Night Sweats, and it had a little bit of an 80s vibe to it, 80s pop vibe. really liked it, and so I listened to it a little more, and then I gotta say it became pretty hard to describe what this is. I don't want to just call it indie rock or pop, because then that's just too big of an umbrella and wouldn't do it justice. So usually don't like to do that, but here is what the press release says. It combines breezy alt-indie, psychedelic pop, dreamy lo-fi chill, indie rock, and expansive cinematic sounds. Well, if that piques your interest, you can just add to it. It's really good. It's Findlay, the last of the 20th century girls. Yeah, next up we have another one for metal fans, but at a much slower pace. This is some doom metal for you. It's Fer De Lance with their album The Hyperborean. It's their debut album, and it is some epic stuff. Yeah, so epic, doomy kind of metal with some folksy elements in there. Lots of like little acoustic guitar stuff on there. Yeah, just the vocals are for the most part really melodic, but more like that kind of old school metal melodic. Has a little bit of a power metal feel to it, but not like the high pitched one. So, but it's just bombastic. That's really the kind of stuff. All the songs that are like 7-8 minutes long. Just, yeah, if you like your metal to be really like heavy and bombastic, epic, big, this is a great new band for you. Out of Chicago, despite the French name. It's, I hope I'm saying this right, Fer De Lance, and the album title is The Hyperborean. Alright, last but not least, we have a band that is, yeah, kind of like a retro hip band, I guess I would call them. It's Automatic, and their second album, Excess. Yeah, so the first song I heard of this is New Beginning, and it has like a groovy bass line on it, kind of like a 70s vibe to it, but then the drums are like super robotic, so it makes you kind of think of like 80s techno pop. The vocals are that kind of sing-speak type, kind of like Dry Cleaning did on their last year's super popular release, and a lot of English bands have been doing recently mainly, but these girls are from LA. Yeah, and yeah, so it's really like somewhere between 70s, 80s. I'm kind of thinking this is maybe kind of like people pictured the future, which would, I guess, be now in the 70s and 80s, as a little bit of a Kraftwerk vibe to it. Some of it, a little bit of new wavy, but you know, just that kind of robotic type. Really colorful, very interesting band. And yeah, they've been playing with some pretty big names, Tame Impala, OCs, and so on. So I think they might be on the verge of getting pretty big. It's Automatic, Excess. All right, that's it for us this week, but as always, I like to refer you to our website, 22soundrecords.com, if you want to see a whole list, because of course this was just a very subjective selection of the vinyl releases this week, so you can see the whole list on there on our website. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, comment, let us know what you're excited about. You can place your pre-orders right there on our website. I hope I see you all back next week. Thanks for watching.